Those dirty old cheeseheads.
I don't think the Lightning's going to strike a third time.
The Green Bay Packers, those dirty old cheeseheads. The 86, their quarterback sent them to New York, and I don't know what they were thinking. Basically, this team is starting from the beginning again. No Aaron Rodgers. They're going to go Jordan Love. Jordan Love, I don't think he can get the job done. Certainly they got a running game with AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones, carrying it the 1-2 punch. But can Jordan Love get the ball to Christian Watson? Can he get it downfield? I I just don't think the guy's got it with the little opportunities he's had in the NFL. He just doesn't seem like he's the guy. And then that defense, look at that defense, and they're all starting to age. There's like Jair Alexander is not. I mean, he's still top cornerback in the league, but he's starting to get up there, and you start to wonder when he's going to plateau and fall off. It's unfortunate, like the Green Bay Packers, you think is a powerhouse, and I think they're bottom of the barrel this year. Justin,
I don't know if I necessarily agree. Because I mean, offensively, it's definitely going to come down to what Jordan Love looks like. His first career start against the Chiefs 2 years ago, he looked absolutely terrible. But then last year against the Eagles, he actually looked pretty good. So I'm very curious to see how he looks. Obviously, how far this team goes is going to depend on how he plays. But I do think what makes him dangerous in offense is that 1-2 punch of running back, Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon. Especially late in the year when they're playing in the cold winter games, the ground and pound attack that they have will be tough to beat. The offensive line is okay as long as Bakatari can stay healthy, which has been a massive question for the last 2 years now. But it seems like all indications are that he's going to be good to go this year, finally. Christian Watson kind of stepped up late in the year. He's going to be the number one guy now. But really, it's about how the rest of those guys look. Is Romeo Dobbs going to make another step this year? He looked so promising early on last year, and it kind of faded a little bit. And then all these other young draft picks that they've had here, they don't really have a vet presence even on this receiving core or in the passing game at all. So that's going to be very interesting to watch. I think it could weigh them down pretty early in the season. But defensively, I actually like their defense a lot. Like they got stud linebackers, Devondre Campbell, Rashawn Gary, strong pass rush, Kenny Clark, and just a lot of those guys. And then the secondary as well, like Jair Alexander is still going to do it. I think he's really good. And let's see here. Yeah, Rasul Douglas has been playing pretty well. I think they got a few issues with the safeties to kind of figure out, but I mean, I think this defense actually is still the best in the division. It's just a question of whether it can carry them and keep them in contention. But I do think late in the year, this team will be pretty dangerous.
I think they have the potential to make a run. They're not deep at receiver. They have 6 new guys or 6 rookies in their wide receiver room right now. And then they got 2 receivers last year. So the most experience they have is 1 year. Christian Watson is their best receiver by far. Romeo Dobbs is definitely their deep guy. They drafted 2 tight ends this year. They got Josiah DeGuara a few years ago. So they're pretty much going to be running 2 tight end sets, 2 receivers, and 2 running backs. And then hoping that that's enough. I mean, I am rooting for Jordan Love, but I don't have full faith in him this year. I think what they're going to end up doing is going out and getting a decent backup. Malik Willis, if Tennessee decides to part ways with him. But this defense is what's going to keep them in ball games. They're going to win a few games solely because they're still pretty strong. They just got Lucas Van Ness, who can help with getting to the quarterback. They still have Darnell Savage, Jair Alexander, Rashawn Gary. They got Quay Walker last year, so they got some young guys mixed in, but I think behind Jair Alexander, they're pretty thin at corner. So they're going to rely on their pass rush to keep them in these games. I don't have a whole lot of faith in them this year just because of what the other teams have done in the division.
By the way, I just had to check. Their backup quarterback is Sean Clifford.
Yep.
It's hard to fill, probably a first ballot Hall of Famer's shoes,
Mhm.
I think this is kind of like one of those culture shock years.
I don't think the Lightning's going to strike a third time.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. But I mean, clearly that is clearly what the Packers front office wanted to replicate. They wanted to do the exact same thing again and hope it works.
I think it was a little forced.
Yeah, it did feel a little forced. But I mean, like Aaron Rodgers even said it best. They typically like to get rid of a player a year early rather than a year late, and we'll see how it works for them.
Yeah.